We discussed in prior videos, there's meant to be really a frequent process of learn and refine in a business going from idea to operating business with customers, right? We rarely get it right in the first version of a business model canvas. So how can you do that? Well, partly it's through things like surveys, whether it's electronic surveys, think tools like SurveyMonkey or otherwise, or even better yet, whether it's face-to-face live discussions with customers or prospects. Go down a few rabbit holes, if you will, to really ask all the follow-on questions to really understand the barriers and needs and desires of your prospects. So, what do they like, dislike? What are they currently using now? Is it good enough? Why is it not good enough? And then will they pay? Can they pay? What can they pay? So validate and refine. Similarly, as I mentioned in the prior video on the business model canvas, in this process of gaining feedback, you and your team will want to update your business model canvas. Name your company. Now, there are branding firms which get paid very large sums of money to come up with names for companies. So this is not an easy task. I've done it wrong many times and changed names of prior companies. Some guidance. You want to make it easy to spell, short enough to remember, indicative, hopefully, of what your business does, and unique relative to competitors. Here are three pretty good examples of names and brands. If you Google bad startup company names or some such phrase, you'll see lots of examples of misspelled words, intentionally misspelled words, but very, very hard to remember. If you're listening to the radio, to TV, to a podcast, and there's a commercial, an advertisement, and somebody has to spell the company name, then it's a bad company name. Generally speaking, it should be easy to remember, easy to spell. Now, that business model canvas really can form the basis for website language. And you don't need a super complicated website. You need a place where folks can go to validate you, to validate your business, to see what you're about. Oftentimes, you're generating business through more one-on-one contact, and then somebody is checking out your website to make sure you're legitimate, you're real. Now, the other pathway is that your website is the main source for leads. So know the difference for sure. But this is really so easy to do. You do not need an IT consultant to do this. You can, of course, if you have the funds and want to get a really fancy website. But with tools like a Weebly, like a Squarespace, and many others, it is literally drag and drop to get really nice looking basic websites. You need a real business email address, right? So you don't want, so-and-so business name at gmail.com, at yahoo.com, at pick your other more kind of personal website provider. So, Rackspace, G Suite, formerly called Google Apps, GoDaddy, lots of other places will do email hosting and allow you to have an email that looks professional, which is what you want, obviously. You need to be able to send something to somebody when they need or want to learn about your business. So often this takes the form of a one-page summary of your business. You want it to look really nice. So don't do what I did early on, was to try and design it myself. Get somebody who's more expert in using graphic design software to do it, to make it look pretty for you once you have the content ready, and then convert it into a PDF as the electronic document that you send around to prospective partners and customers. Please build an advisory board. I just don't know what we don't know. And look, the structure can be extremely variable on advisory boards. This is not a board of directors, by the way, which would have some control over decisions made by your company. An advisory board would be, look, you're looking for experts in your field that can both be expertise in the particular subject, let's say energy or real estate, and also aspects of growing a business, say marketing or finance. But often these these advisors are excited to help a younger company grow. It's great if you can also motivate them financially to do so. But anyway, nothing like having an extra set of wise folks rooting for your success and hopefully holding you somewhat accountable to the milestones, the goals you set forth for you in the company. You will likely need channel partners to help sell your service or product. So if you're in the online space, this is perhaps affiliates. If you're selling, online courses, you may do a joint venture with others who sell online courses who maybe sell to the same type of customer but provide different products. So you kind of team up and share the success. You split the profits essentially from those marketing campaigns. So you can motivate these channel partners financially to get you in front of their audiences. You got to prove that you know something about your sector, about your industry. Let's say a blog is one way to do that. Now, look, there are far too many blogs out there. Many are not good, and so there is a bit of content overload. However, a consistent blog is often the most visited part of a website. Now, it's important to do it regularly, perhaps one or two times the same day every week, to share that through your social networks. And some research suggests you either go very short and very frequent, or you go less frequent but much, much more in depth. So think about Seth Godin, Godin. He's produced a very short blog every day for many years, and it's one of the most widely read blogs in the world. There are examples of others who write, almost a small book, thousands of words for a blog, but only write once every 2 weeks or once every month or once every 2 months because it's such rich content. Another format you can think about are Q&A. What are the most frequent questions that come up in your industry around your product type? How can you write great answers to those that are evergreen? That's the other thing is, if you can write evergreen content, something that's relevant, not just during the week of a certain news headline, but over the course of a couple of years, you're likely to get more traffic from that. The last slide here on lunch, aim for a high-touch approach that does not scale at first. Get out of the office, talk to customers who are happy and less happy, let's say. Those who said no to you, why did they say no? So learn and refine your business. Again, this is not a stone carving exercise. All this is meant to be iterative. Key conclusions. The perfect is the enemy of the good. Launch before your business is 100% ready. Some say the only way to learn is by doing, not by thinking about it some more. Number 2, your first business idea is likely not the one that will succeed. Remember, failure only happens when you give up. Now, when you fail, it's hard to keep that in mind, but again, you should expect that things will not work out, and then you need to find paths around those roadblocks. Lastly, it's never been easier to start a new business in most countries. The tools are more available and the cost lower than ever. So what I'm saying is, when should you start a business? Now, right? I mean, maybe not right this very second, but yes, now. There's never going to be a perfect time, but now is as good a time as has been, broadly speaking, to start a new business. Lastly, questions for you. What's holding you back from launching the new startup or corporate initiative that hopefully you've kind of further refined and fleshed out during this course? Number 2, what would your future look like in 3 to 5 years if you don't implement these next steps in this video and instead remain in your current job doing what you've always done? Now, look, maybe that's fine, but I'm guessing you're taking this course because there's interest for a different level of impact you're seeking to make, a different lifestyle, more flexibility for your family, for friends, for causes, etc. Finally, what is the timeline for taking these next steps in this video? Write them out now and tell somebody. Tell many people about it. Put it on Facebook or LinkedIn. Let others hold you accountable as kind of peers, supporters along the way. So we'll see you in the very last video, and really, really hoping you've paused this video and written down answers to these questions on this slide as you have throughout the whole course. The time is now, right, to put this into practice.